Hi, I'm John, and recently I got a call from my friend James who said, "Hey man, I got a cool model I think you should do a spotlight on. It's from ScaleTrains, and now I have it, so let's go look at it." Alright, so here's what we're looking at today. This is an HO scale GE C44-9W. As you can see, it's decorated for BNSF as an ex-Santa Fe war bonnet, patched. This is from ScaleTrains, and it comes from their Rivet Counter line. As such, it's going to have a lot of really great detail. This is something that's a little different because the paint and markings are stressed ahead of time at the factory. It's made this way so that all you really have to do when you get it is weather it with some extra weathering powders and stuff like that. They've already applied a bunch of really distressed effects to the paint, and it's something that is pretty cool. These come as DCC ready, and the retail price for those is $243.99, and then they also come as DCC and sound equipped, like this one, with the manufacturer's suggested retail price of $355.99. And if you look on their website, you'll see that they have discounted prices for both of those. And also, if you go to an in-person store or an online retailer, you'll find that the price is also significantly lower than what their suggested retail price is. This model is packaged in a plastic shell with spacers to protect the handrails, just like you'd expect. And it comes with an operator's manual that has all kinds of information about the DCC decoder, CV settings, that kind of thing. It also comes with some stickers and a spare parts bag. And the spare parts bag has spare rotating end caps because these models, unlike most models of locomotives, have rotating end caps, which is pretty cool. If you go to the ScaleTrains website, you'll also find that they have several road numbers, and probably your best bet would be to go to their website and see if they have the one you're looking for. So I looked at the paint, and it's really messed up. But it's supposed to be that way in this case. The detail, though, is worth pointing out on this model because it has a lot of really great detail. This grille back here toward the rear of the model is see-through. And I'll show you that when we look at the other side. But all these other little grills and air intakes along the side of the model are done really well. I don't know for sure, but it looks like they're photo-etched parts that are applied separately. And just the detail on it is fabulous. And, I like this touch here. You have these panels that were replaced at the shop, apparently, because these Dash 9s, Santa Fe did have them before they were bought by BNSF or absorbed by BNSF, or to become BNSF, I should say. And so when you would go to a shop and the locomotive needs work, they're interchangeable parts. So obviously they took some of these off of one of their orange Dash 9s that was sitting at the shop. It's just a cool look, and I'd be remiss if I didn't mention all of the undersill detail. There's piping and just conduits. There's all kinds of stuff going on under there. The detail in the air tank area where you can see a pipe coming in here. You can see a pipe coming in here. There are these little release, it looks like pressure valves down here. There's just a lot going on. And this is what ScaleTrains does, folks. They make really super detailed models that look fabulous. Something I should have mentioned when we were looking at the side view, but you can't see it from the side, is that the walkways are also rusted. It's an effect that they put on all of the walkways around this locomotive, including in the front here. You can see that this hood is all distressed with rust marks, but they've done a lot of the work for you if you're one of those people that loves to weather the living daylights out of these things. But all the details there. So the model comes with the sunshades There are little bits like the mirror here. These are separately applied thin wire grabs across the top of the front. The windshield wipers are separately applied, very thin pieces. There are some really thin wire grabs that go down the front. All this hand railing and stuff is separately applied and very thin. The chain detail on the front here is also really good. And if you look down at the bottom by the pilot here, you'll see that it has ditch lights, an MU cable here. You can see that there's MU cables down here along the plow, and here as well. There's a wire cut lever that goes across, and the stairwell, these steps look to be photo etched and they're see-through. It looks really good. Now from this angle you can see there's also another sunshade on this side and a rear view mirror. Pretty much has everything you could think it should have on it. And it comes like that out of the box. So looking at the Firemen Side, this is such a cool touch. They have the air conditioning unit here that was obviously replaced, right? Because the air conditioning unit that it came with, well, it broke down and they took one off of one of their orange units and just plopped it in there. Because like I said, on the other side, all these parts are interchangeable. It's a Dash 9. So, you know, that's something you see out on the road all the time. So it's a great detail to include to do that. And then also on this side, you can see it has a separately applied brake wheel. And then I also mentioned a minute ago that the grill back here is see-through. And here's what I'm talking about. Not only is it see-through, but there's a little sort of fan detail in there. Pretty cool. A look at the rear of the locomotive reveals a lot of the same kind of detail. We have the very thin wire grabs, very distressed walkway, cut lever, MU hoses. You had a spare knuckle holder back here on each side. Pretty sure that's a BNSF or a Santa Fe thing. And of course your MU receptacle with the cabling back here. On the other side of the coupler, there's another air hose back down in here, which I'll show you in a second because we're going to look at it from the other angle. But it just looks really good. There's a lot of detail to look at here. This is the last 3/4 view we're going to look at, but I did want to show it to you because you can see from this side all that extra detail. And the other thing you can see from this angle is the distressed walkway that I've been mentioning all along. It's pretty cool stuff. All right, taking a brief look at the top of the locomotive, you can see these are separately applied grills here in this radiator fan area. There's a lot of depth to the exhaust. This is something that ScaleTrains always has a lot of depth in there, and it looks really good. There's your horn casting, which is a really nicely done horn. And then on the front end here, you can see there's writing that is legible if you magnify the daylights out of it. And then some separately applied detail parts here on the top of the cab. All right, you know I always like to run these models, so let's start it up and see what it does.
Wow, that's pretty loud. That's some really impressive low speed capability. Look at that. This thing crawls.
We're going to take a look at the lights now, and I don't know if you could tell when we did our little test run there, but this locomotive has running lights. We'll get to that in a second, but first let me show you the headlight. It's activated with F0 like you might expect, and comes on in the direction of travel. So this is obviously going in forward, and then the ditch lights are operable and they come on with F6. And you can dim the headlight by hitting F12, and when you do that, not only does the headlight dim, but the ditch lights also turn off. When you hit F12 again to bring the headlight back up to full strength, the ditch lights come back on. So in order to get the other lights to come on, you have to start the sound sequence on the locomotive, and you'll see what I'm talking about when I do this. I'm going to be quiet because you won't be able to hear me anyway. This is a really loud locomotive. But you can see there, you can see that the lights on the number boards came on, as well as a little running light down here in front, and then back here behind the stairwell that leads up to the cab. So there's quite a few little lights that come on with this locomotive. So of course we'll look at the rear headlight as well. It comes on in the direction of travel with F0. Something else that the model has is a service light on the rear. So when you start the sound, you see it comes on down here by the walkway. Let's just turn that off because I don't want to go deaf again.
This is a really great model, especially for people who want to really weather up their trains. The running qualities of this model are really good. It does exceptionally well at low speeds, and the mechanism is also quiet. I ran it without the sound off camera and was really impressed with how that sounded. Something else that I noticed about it is that it sounds better than the other ScaleTrains models that I've had on the channel more recently. I don't know if they've changed how they're doing their speakers inside, or maybe it was just done better for some reason at the factory, but this model sounds exceptional. And I think that for most people who want something like this, it'll be a great addition to your fleet. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.